I'm Christopher Titus, and update. How you feeling? Seriously, how does it feel to slowly watch all of our values erode and rust and explode and dissolve, and watch the people eroding, rusting, exploding, and dissolving our values? Get away with it at a level we have never seen.
Being like a rocket ship, except in the wrong direction.
Every week here on the podcast, we try to bring the horrors of the world into light, and we do it with a touch of humor, hopefully. I mean, to make the information palatable and make it so you just don't want to, stick a needle in your eye repeatedly. We're here to help. So today, I kind of want to go over what we've all lost since this 34-time convicted felon, rapist, bankrupt, pedophile, loser, con man has become president. Are you ready? Cool. Healthcare. They're estimating 11 to 17 million people will lose access to healthcare. On top of that, they now have a work requirement to get healthcare, which means if you're so sick you can't work, you can't get better unless you work, which you can't do because you're sick and need healthcare. Trump wants to kill 2 satellites that measure CO2 and plant life growth on Earth, which, would also measure the effects of climate change. But hold on, whoa, we can't have that because the oil people gave Jared $2 billion. So we need to make sure that they get what they paid for while the planet burns. Florida's Gulf of Mexico is at 97 degrees. So with a lifeless ocean, which means the hotter the water, the bigger the hurricanes. But we won't know how big those hurricanes are because we've also lost funding and 600 employees for the National Oceanic Atmospheric Association. Since then, we've had one of the biggest floods in Texas that killed over 100 people, and a lot of those were kids. And then Trump killed FEMA, so the worst flood in Texas history is going to have to be cleaned up and paid for by the people who have nothing because they lost everything they had in a flood. Because in Texas, people, we don't want no government help. That would be socialism.
I don't think you should take any money from the federal government because they can't be trusted.
Now, we don't need these funds here. We've done just fine, and we'll get by without them. But you spend this money, you're signing a contract with the devil, and the devil's in the White House.
This is Texas, and Texans can take care of Texas.
Prices are way up because of tariffs, and then we don't have tariffs, and then we do have tariffs. And since we don't know hour by hour how much the tariffs will be,
Press a button, bing, bing.
we stop buying stuff, which is killing the economy. Like it's in a prison cell with the cameras off and the guards sleeping.
The Trump economy probably committed suicide.
Then the national debt is going up because of tax cuts for the people who already have everything. And he pissed off Canada. How do you piss off Canada? 4.5 million kids will die because of cuts to USAID. And this douche just cut $500 million for vaccinations, a couple years after a pandemic. And while you suffer without health care, not enough money to buy food or gas, he got a $400 million free plane as a gift from Qatar, which is only going to take $400 million of our tax dollars to replate illiterate Orange's new gold toilets. And then he took the worst sex trafficker in our history, a woman who groomed children to sexually please monsters, and he moved her to a 4-star club-fed prison because pedophiles need iron sheets and a coffee bar. So to wrap up, he's done nothing, he said. He's on track to kill more people than his first term through starvation, lack of medicine, stopping medical research, and not just in America. Oh, no. More Gazans and Ukrainians will die under this president because of his rank stupidity and evil. But hey, we're getting a new ballroom. A ballroom that makes the White House look like an airport terminal, which will go with his new plane bribe. Bribe plane? Plane bribe. Either or. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Every day, it just keeps getting worse. And you know what? That's a partial list. That's just a few things that in any other time in history, we would have marched to the White House, yanked the guy out, and drug him down the street behind an ox cart. But still, this guy, for some reason,